Sooner Vision on ESPN+. Kelly Maxwell getting the nod for the Sooners in the circle. And Kinsey Hansen rounded out the battery for the Oklahoma Sooners. And we are moments away from first pitch between OU and BYU. But Destiny, what have you liked about Kelly Maxwell here, especially in Big 12 play?
Yeah, I think she's really developed over the last couple of weeks. I think she had a little bit of a rough start here just at Love's Field with the new team, the new environment. I think she had a little bit of a rough start, but she has really settled in. I think she's really figured herself out, gotten comfortable with her new pitching coach and all of the things that go with it. I have been very impressed with Kelly Maxwell out in the circle. You know, she performed really well against Texas. I think she did a good job. And she's comfortable. I think all of the pitches that she has, she's really showcased well. She's got great command, and that's really all you can ask for.
And Maxwell picked up the lone win against the Longhorns last weekend down in Austin, but has really been solid for the Sooners in Big 12 play. And we are about to get underway. Let's go ahead and take a look at that BYU lineup. And as we mentioned, Ailana Agbayani leading it off and has really led the charge for this lineup as the sophomore stands in and takes the first pitch she sees from Kelly Maxwell in for called strike one. Agbayani on the season, leading this Cougar offense with a .425 average. And we've talked about it a ton, but Agbayani, she can just do a little bit of everything.
Yeah, and talking to Coach Eakin, he has nothing but great things to say about her, just her leadership, everything about her, but just the fact that she's so versatile. She's able to play shortstop, she's able to pitch, she's a great hitter, she's a great leader.
Showing some of that leadership is the 0-2 just misses outside. And a great location from Kelly Maxwell. She's set to deliver the 1-2 and swing and a miss in the dirt. Hansen fired down for the first out of the inning, and that is a huge strikeout for Kelly Maxwell to set the tone here in the first.
Yeah, such a great start. That's what you want to see out of Kelly Maxwell and just the Sooners overall. You want to get that leadoff batter out, start the game with some momentum.
Maxwell getting the chase. Hansen having Maxwell's bat to bring up Maddie Bejarano. Bejarano, the senior, hitting .352 on the year. This is a Cougar offense. They've got some pop, they'll steal some bags, and it's just an explosive.
Yeah, and you know, Coach Eakin has really good things to say about their offense. He knows that the offense is very important this series. You've got to put some runs on the board to beat a team like OU, and so he understands what it's going to take. You've got to put some pressure on the defense. They're going to have to find some ways on. But they are a pretty explosive and powerful offense.
Ground ball to the left side, and Jennings takes care of it, and it's 2 up, 2 down for the Sooners and Kelly Maxwell to bring up 3-hole hitter Violet Zavodnik. And 2 huge outs to start this ball game. As Zavodnik stands in as the third lefty to come to the plate, Destiny, this inning.
3 lefty-lefty matchups in a row.
And how does that fare for Maxwell?
I think, you know, as a left-handed hitter, it's tough to face a left-handed pitcher, but I think it's a plus for Kelly Maxwell in the circle.
Checks
those types of matchups, and I'm sure you as a pitcher can really attest to that, but a lefty-lefty matchup is really more for the pitcher, that they're going to succeed in this case more often than not.
Maxwell, such a strong curveball, and we see her use that often against left-handed hitters. There it is right there as Maxwell ahead, 1 ball and 2 strikes. And one thing Kelly Maxwell does well, mixes her pitches. It's tough to sit in one quadrant off of Kelly Maxwell.
Yeah. And you see a drop ball there at 29%. That's both sides of the plate.
Maxwell working ahead quickly here in the top of the first inning. Looking to retire the side. She brings the 2-2 and misses upstairs. Violet Zavodnik on the year, 8 home runs, 29 RBI, so has some pop in the middle of this Cougar lineup. Swing and a miss. And Maxwell sits the Cougars down in order to start the ball game. This is OU softball presented by Bud Light.
They're used to seeing some velocity. They're used to seeing pitches on the corners, and this is going to be a challenge, seeing some lighter speed and some mix of speeds.
Temple set to face Jada Coleman as first pitch hits her in the ankle, and Coleman is aboard here in the bottom of the first inning, and looks like home plate umpire is going to make his way out and say that the pitch did not hit Coleman as Coleman is heading back to the box, but it was pretty immediate. Jada Coleman took off.
So we're going to take a look here.
It almost feels as if that back foot may have been, if anything, where it caught Coleman. But looks like we're going to have a review here. Based on the replay we have up here in the booth, it looks like it was nowhere near hitting Coleman in the foot, and Coach Gasso decided better of it.
She retracted that statement.
So it is simply a ball on the batter as Coleman stands back in with a 1-0 count here in the bottom of the first inning. Scoreless here from Love's Field. As Temples fires the 1-0 in for called strike 1. And we talked a little bit about Temples and not having a ton of velocity, but she does a really good job of spotting up her pitches, Destiny.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be a huge challenge. She's a rise ball pitcher with velocity between 56 and 62. That is not what an OU offense is used to seeing. So I think this is going to be a pretty big challenge. If she can paint the corners and work within the strike zone, it's going to be tough for them to stay on time or find the right time.
The 1-2 to Coleman. Lined into center field, and it's a leadoff single for Jada Coleman to start the ball game. And Coleman giving the I don't know look over to Coach Gasso. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Sooners starting lineup. Tiare Jennings set to face off in the 2-hole with Alyssa Brito in the 3. Ella Parker, the freshman, in the DP slot. And Kinsey Hansen back in that starting lineup. Cassie Pickering in right field. And Riley Boone rounding it out in the 9 slot. As Jennings takes the first pitch she sees, could be 2. And Coleman evaded the tag, but was then forced out at second base. And good heads-up play by Kayla Kumoko at second base.
Yeah, Kumoko really sticking with that, trying to get it out. And with Tiare, you can see that ball just kind of coming off the end of the bat, and that goes to show some of the timing. She's early on that pitch, barely getting the end of the bat on the ball, and then job sticking with it and getting that play.
First pitch to Brito's in for called strike 1. And Destiny, you said this at the beginning of the game of wanting to see smarter base running, and I don't think we gave that enough credit in Jada Coleman breaking up the double play and evading the tag. Brito on the season, hitting .416 with 40 RBI. The 1-1 loops in. There's a good look at head coach Patty Gasso. And that record is sometimes staggering. 1492 and 348 in her time, as Brito waves straight through and off speed, and Chloe Temples mixing speeds and has done a good job so far here in the first of keeping the Sooners off balance.
Yeah, if she can maintain that pitch, she will be very effective tonight. And Coach Eakin, in talking to him, I asked what is their defensive approach, and he said we've just got to keep the ball down and our defense needs to stay clean. But if they can keep the ball down, keep the ball in the yard, he's pretty confident they could stay in the game and make it a challenge against this OU offense.
3-2 to Brito. Brito stays alive. The Sooner team earlier this week put up 7 runs against Wichita State in the first 2 innings, and then the offense went quiet. Did not put up another run as that game progressed. And the 3-2 to Brito off speed, and she swings straight through it for the second out of the inning. And Chloe Temples changing speeds.
That is just a great pitch. You see it kind of just fall off the table, hit that down inside corner. It's a tough pitch to hit, especially when you're taking so much velocity off.
Ella Parker, the freshman DP, takes the first pitch she sees outside, and Parker has really shown a lot of poise for a freshman. Has a great eye to go along with that .402 batting average. Temples falls behind for the first time here this inning. 2 balls and no strikes. Parker, 20 walks on the season. The count was 3 balls and no strikes. And just as we talk about the poise of the freshman, making Temples work.
Yeah, she is very disciplined as a freshman. She gets good pitches. She attacks them, but she can also lay off of the ones that take her out of the zone.
And a 4-pitch walk will move Tiare Jennings into scoring position with 2 outs here in the bottom of the first inning to bring up Kinsey Hansen. And 4 Temples on the year. That's her 32nd walk. But an opportunity here for Kinsey Hansen to get the Sooners on the board here in the first inning. So that pitch misses low. That's 5 straight balls for Temples, and we're going to see senior catcher Haley Morrow head out to have a chat with Temples, who's really been around the zone.
Yeah, I think she's been working it really well. Again, these OU hitters are going to be picky. They're going to have to get a pitch that they can work with, especially understanding that the velocity is so different from what they're used to.
Meeting over, and Morrow trying to work around what was a leadoff single by Jada Coleman, eventually thrown out at second base on the fielder's choice. But a runner in scoring position early here for the Sooners nonetheless. Morrow fires her first strike. Temples enters this game 6-5 on the season with a 4.49 ERA. There's a good look at Coach Egan in his 22nd year at the helm of BYU. This is BYU's first year in the Big 12. 2-1 falls in for called strike 2, and there's that mix.
That is a tough pitch to hit. Kind of just fell into the strike zone. Started out high.
Two struck well, and it's going to be caught in center field by Violet Zavodnik. And BYU works around a leadoff hit to be unscathed, and what a play!
Score them, just do something with their runners. They're going to have to score to win this game. And for OU, I want to see them create momentum. They've had some decent at-bats, but I think I want to see them kind of capitalize on the good pitches that they are getting, and I want to see them adjust to the velocity change that they're seeing out of Chloe Temples.
First pitch swinging by senior Hunter Ava, and foul ball straight off the mask of Kinsey Hansen. Looks to be okay. I think this crowd went silent here for a moment as Kinsey Hansen has just made her way back into this starting lineup here as of late after battling a little bit of an injury, but looks to be all right as Ava coming out aggressive, as we've seen much of these BYU hitters so far in this ball game. Kelly Maxwell ahead quickly, no balls and 2 strikes to the senior. Ava on the season leading the team with a second on the team with a 421 average. Leading the team in RBI, however, with 49.
They put some runs on the board.
Maxwell brings the 0-2 and misses in the dirt. And you know, if you go and you look at the schedule for BYU, they've got a couple quality wins, a win over Oklahoma State. But if you look at some of their losses, it's simply an offense that's getting outscored. I mean, high-scoring ball games.
The offense is able to really produce some runs. It's just a matter of the free passes and the defensive errors.
Jennings scoops it up to take care of Ava for the first out of the second to bring up sophomore right fielder Lily Owens. This defense, solid as they've been all season. As the sophomore stands in. Owens, a .385 hitter from Chino Hills, California. He's got 4 home runs on the season, 30 RBI, and we've said it through and through. This one is lifted to the right side. Torres is underneath it, and she will take care of it for out number 2, and it's 2 up, 2 down for Maxwell here in the second, and she has retired 5 straight to start this ball game.
Kelly has really settled in. I've loved watching her over, I'd say about the last 3 weeks. She's slowly just developed and gotten comfortable, and she just looks dominant out there.
Sophomore Maddie Udall hacking first pitch. Udall coming out aggressive. As Maxwell ahead here, no balls and 2 strikes.
We see that a lot. We see opponents come in swinging aggressively, understanding that the pitching staff is wanting to be ahead as well.
Little check swing, and Udall stays alive. And this BYU offense, again, have faced some good pitching, but more than that, it's a confident offense, and you can see it just looking at their numbers.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, one thing that kind of sticks out is their errors. I'm seeing 38 here, and that's where, they can put a lot of runs on the board, but they're also giving up quite a few.
The 0-2 just misses inside with the curveball. Sooner fans aren't happy with it. But good take by Udall. Good crowd here tonight at Love's Field on the Thursday night edition of Big 12 softball. And starting what is typically a Friday, Saturday, Sunday series on Thursday, as BYU does not play on Sundays. But good midweek crowd. And Udall seeing a lot of pitches here.
It's a good battle. I think it's one thing to understand that pitchers like Kelly Maxwell, they're not going to miss big. If you can keep your bat on the ball, foul some stuff off, kind of work your timing until you get a good pitch, you might be in good shape.
The 1-2 fouled off again. And Udall working what is a pitcher's count. As Maxwell looks to retire the side here in the second inning. The 1-2 lined right at Jennings, and that will do it. Side is retired. We're scoreless as we head to the bottom of the second inning. This is Sooner Softball presented by Bud Light.
Oh, yeah. Hot honey pizza and wings from Pizza
Chloe Temples is obviously out on the mound, but she was battling somewhat of an injury earlier this season. But with the other three, talking to Coach Eakin, they were 8 pitchers deep. They're down to 3 official pitchers, and Agbayani at shortstop is also a pitcher that we will see this weekend. So lots of changes. They had lots of hope with 8 pitchers deep, but they're making it work, and we'll see what Chloe Temples can do the rest of the night.
Cassidy Pickering stands in. That pitch misses just a hair low. Curious to see the pitch count, and we will keep an eye on that for Temples at 22 so far in this ball game. And see how far that pitch count will carry her deep into this game. Temples solid in inning 1, stranding a pair of runners. The 1-1 to Pickering just misses outside.
As long as she can limit the free passes, keep these hitters off balance, I think Coach Eakin will be happy. I think that's what he wants to see out of her. Just keep these hitters off balance and limit the free passes.
And
we're seeing a lot of these hitters just early. We saw one come off the end of the bat with Tiare. That one we saw with Sydney Sanders just pulling. She's just early. And it's a tough adjustment as a hitter.
And Destiny, you said it, when Temples got this start for BYU, not a ton of velocity, but it may not be a bad matchup against this Sooner offense. And so far, Temples keeping the Sooners at bay.
Sometimes a pitcher with a little less velocity is more effective. I think it's really hard to make those adjustments, especially with some movement. You're not used to seeing the ball take so long to get to you.
And one thing that Coach Eakin and his staff are going to have to do this weekend is use this pitching staff very deliberately and carefully. As we mentioned, what was an 8-woman staff is now dwindled down to just 3, I'll say 3.5.
3.5. 3 and a shortstop. Can pitch.
and pitches well, throws very well. But again, not the primary position for Agbayani.
And talking to Coach Eakin, that's how he mentioned it. He said, yeah, our shortstop. She could pitch. He kept referring to her as our shortstop. But she's great. She's a solid pitcher. They're going to have to utilize all of 4 of them.
It's the 3-1 to Torres. Just misses low, and second inning in a row for Chloe Temples to get to the point of 2 outs and deliver a 2-out walk.
Those are the free passes. And this is something that I'd love to see OU try to capitalize on. Talking about keys on both sides. OU's been given an opportunity with the base runner on, 2 outs. Let's see what Riley Boone can do with it. But also Chloe Temple cannot afford the free passes.
Coach Gordon Eakin on his way out to have a chat with his defense and Chloe Temples. And as we mentioned, Temples is on a pitch count, but I feel like this conversation has a lot more to do with the defensive approach with Riley Boone at the plate.
I would agree. Riley Boone is such a triple threat. She's so effective in the box. She can hit a ball out of the yard. She can find the gap. She can work the 5-6 hole. She can place a perfectly executed bunt. I mean, this is a challenge that they're going to have to face. And even Coach Gasso talking to the offense right now, they're mocking something up. Boone, do you think this is a time to bunt? Do you think this is a time to work something through the gaps?
Riley Boone in the 9 slot. Jada Coleman waiting on deck, and Coleman has the lone hit for the Sooners so far in this ball game. 2 outs, and Alina Torres at first base. Torres 2 for 2 on stolen bases on the season. Hasn't taken off much, but she might. As Temples gets back to work. And just as you said, Destiny, Riley Boone showing a little bit of short game.
She's really working the defense, just trying to keep them on their toes. You saw Udall really charge in on that. That's something where she may be showing that and trying to poke it right by her.
Boone hitting .443 in Big 12 play, which is good for 4th in the conference. And this is laced into left center field. Torres is going to round second, and she will slide safely into third, and it is a 2-out double for Riley Boone. And just like that, the Sooners have got a pair in scoring position for Jada Coleman.
Riley Boone is so fun to watch. I just love her energy. Everything about her in the box. She's really able to show so much, and you really just never know how to play her as a defender.
About the call to the bullpen when we come back. This is Sooner Softball presented by Bud Light.
These 2 men share something in common. Derek is in the business of fulfilling dreams. Sam thought his dreams were taken away because of
free passes with this OU offense. But overall, I think she painted the corners well. I think she was able to be effective off speeds and change. But, you know, with the pitch count and everything that goes into it, it was time for her to come out.
And BYU goes with the junior righty Alyssa Aguilar from Tucson, Arizona. And Aguilar on the season enters with a 3.5 ERA, 1-0 on the year. This is just her 13th appearance and 16 innings pitched. And BYU going with one of their pitchers who has seen the least amount of time so far this season, but Coach Egan, again, having a game plan with his pitching staff as they are plagued by injuries right now, but runners on second and third for Jada Coleman with 2 outs. As the 1-0 is struck well to left field at the starting a rally here in the second.
Just an excellent piece of hitting. You see that ball in the outside corner. You see Jada Coleman just let it travel deep enough. She really gets...
It brings up Tiare Jennings.
That's where you've got to avoid the free passes. That extra run with Elena Torres, turn that into a 3-run home run.
And 2 of those runs will be credited to Chloe Temples. As Aguilar has entered this game. And Aguilar, another pitcher on the staff who has been taken down at times by injury, tore her ACL midway through last season, and again is making her way back. But she is also on a pitch count. And Destiny, you've talked about this, of how important it is when you've got that limited amount of pitches that you are able to throw, but you've got to stay around the zone. You've got to get rid of the free passes.
Yeah, it is tough to throw to an offense like OU because they can really handle all sides of the plate. I think the most effective you can be against this lineup is by mixing your speeds. And again, with the pitch count, all of those factors, all of that factors into it, and you've got to just really keep control and be in control of what pitches you're throwing and stay within the zone because they are very smart hitters.
Second 2-out walk in the inning delivered by BYU pitching brings up Alyssa Brito. Takes the first pitch she sees. It's going to ricochet and not in time. And that will be a 2-out single to extend the inning. And Komoku just didn't quite have enough time.
See that really come off of Aguilar's leg, right at her shin. Komoku trying to make a play.
Parker drew a walk back in the first inning. The 1-0 misses in the dirt. Runners stay put. Good job by senior catcher Haley Morrow. And she's going to head out to have a chat with Aguilar. And Aguilar having a hard time finding the zone since she's entered this ballgame.
Yeah. And again, all of this started with the walk. The walk to Elena Torres. Riley Boone keeping the momentum alive. Jada Coleman coming up with the home run. Tiare Jennings getting another free pass. Alyssa Brito. They're putting the ball in play. It's tough to pitch to this offense. You've got to stay within the strike zone somehow.
And saw Coach Egan head out, have a check on his pitcher after taking the ground ball off the leg. Aguilar all smiles, so that's always good to see, but still looking to get into the strike zone as she's behind here, 2 balls and no strikes. BYU pitching has delivered 3 walks so far in the game. And Parker, one of those in her first at bat. And green light for Parker, 3-0.
There's a hitter that's going to get a green light. I'd say Ella Parker's the one. 3-0 count. Expecting a solid pitch.
And that's why those nets are there, folks.
Yes.
The 3-1 lifted to center field. Zavodnik is underneath it. And that will do it, but not before the Sooners strike first. Jada Coleman launches a 2-out, 3-run bomb to make it 3-0 Sooners. We head to the third. This is Sooner Softball presented by Bud Light.
These 2 men.
This is Sooner Softball brought to you by Courtyard by Marriott. 7-8-9 due up for BYU as the Sooners are on top 3-0 here in the top of the third. And Kelly Maxwell continuing to hammer the strike zone as junior Kayla Kamoku is behind here. No balls and 2 strikes, and that's something we have seen Kelly Maxwell pretty much be in every single batter so far in this game.
Yeah, I guarantee that's something that Coach Rocha and her set as a goal for this game, is to see how many hitters you can get ahead of the count with.
0-2 just misses low. You gotta love that curveball location.
Really good pitch.
Here's a good look at associate head coach Jennifer Rocha. And 1-2 as Brito spins and fires, and Sydney Sanders retrieves the errant throw to make the play.
What a solid play by Brito and Sanders collectively. Brito really sticking with that ball, allowing her momentum to kind of take her that way, spin around, keep the throw on target. Sydney Sanders able to snag it and make the tag.
That shines, and really the first well-struck ball we've seen off of a BYU bat. As Haley Morrow stands in. And Maxwell falls behind 2 balls and no strikes. Maxwell in this ball game so far has been very efficient. That's probably the best way we can put it. Behind here, 2 balls and a strike. Has not been behind often so far. Nobody on and 1 out. As Maxwell fires the 2-2 and swing and a miss. The 3rd strikeout in the ball game for Kelly Maxwell, and she brings the count back to sit down Morrow.
She has owned that curveball. That pitch is just coming down at the knees to a right-handed batter. She's really done a good job of having command of that pitch.
And 9-hole hitter Taryn Lennon taking a big hack. Hitting .333 on the year. And this is hit well to the right side, but Pickering is gonna glove it. And for the 3rd straight inning, Maxwell sits the Cougars down in order. We head to the bottom of the 3rd inning. This is Sooner Softball presented by Bud Light. The t-shirt toss has ensued at Loves Field, and as what has been kind of the norm since the opening of Loves Field just about a month ago, tons of fans having a great time. We got Sooner fans young and old here tonight. And get to see a good one so far. The Sooners are on top 3-0, but a great crowd for a Thursday night, even in what has been a little bit of a windy day.
Yeah, no, I am always in shock with the Tuesday night, Wednesday night, now Thursday night games. The attendance is unbelievable.
And Kinsey Hansen gonna try to make her way down the line, but Agbayani takes care of Hansen for the first out here in the 3rd. And Loves Field, it is a natural surface, so there is no artificial area on the playing field. It is artificial in the foul areas. The sod is Tahoma 31 Bermuda, and the infield is Dura Edge Pro. So no expenses spared here on the playing surface, and it is about as beautiful of a field as I have seen.
Yeah, and shout out to the field crew because it looks artificial in the outfield. I mean, it looks beautiful.
And this is struck well in the left center field gap, and Cassidy Pickering adds a run to the board with one swing of the bat. And the freshman getting back into the swing of things to make it 4-0 Sooners here in the bottom of the third. And you gotta love the opposite field bomb, Destiny.
I just love watching Cassidy Pickering just make contact. It's so solid. Her hands are so quick to contact.
And we're going to tell you more about that pitching change when we come back.
These two men share something in common. Derek is in the business of fulfilling dreams. Sam thought his dreams were taken away. Because of Derek, Sam is
This season have been via the long ball. And it's no different here tonight. The 3-run shot by Jada Coleman and Cassidy Pickering putting up a solo home run of her own here in the third. But we talk so much about this offense. So much run production just by one swing of the bat. This team's never out of ball game.
Yeah, no, they're never out. I think, and any of them are really capable of sending the ball out of the yard. I mean, you think of Riley Boone as somewhat of a slapper and quick on the base pass, but she's also able to send one out.
Speaking of having the ability to send one out, Sydney Sanders, 11 home runs on the season from the junior. And we are going to see yet another conversation, and we've seen a lot of the BYU coaching staff here tonight, but how much of that, Destiny, do you think is tied to what they're dealing with the injuries and some of the short staff that they've got right now?
Yeah, I mean, the first two pitchers we saw are on a pitch count. So you're going to have some conversations. You're going to want to kind of milk some time if you can. But you've also got to get on the same page. She came out. Kate Daly has come out. She's behind in the count. Kind of got to figure out where she's at, what she's thinking. I mean, you've got to throw a strike at some point to Sydney Sanders, and that's going to be tough.
And another 3-0 count. And as we mentioned, BYU pitching staff battling injuries. 3 true pitchers on staff right now, along with Agbayani, who has seen some time as well. But we have already seen every available pitcher from BYU so far in this game. And Agbayani, the final arm that is available for the Cougars. A little change of speeds from Daly.
It's a great pitch to throw in a count like that. I mean, if you're able to do that, that could be pretty effective.
And pitchers who can throw off speed in a hitter's count.
Yeah.
The 3-2, another off speed, and Sanders stays alive. Daly, just a freshman, has seen significant innings. 3-2 misses low, and another walk issued by BYU pitching. And we talk so much about the long ball that we see and the power we see. Oh yeah, they're also leading D1 in walks as well. And look at that walk to strikeout ratio, Destiny.
Yeah, I mean, 202 walks. And then you think of how many home runs they're able to produce in a season. You're giving up a lot of runs. 104 strikeouts.
And I'm not always the best when it comes to math, but that strikeout stop-to-walk ratio is doubled.
Yeah.
And talk about a sign of a good offense as Maya Bland is into pinch run at first base for Sydney Sanders. And the walk brings up Alina Torres, who drew a walk herself and kind of got the rally started. Bland takes off first pitch, and the throw's got her at second base. And Haley Morrow, big time play. And it looks like Coach Gasso is going to want to see the review.
Could see it again here. See the tag. Almost seems like her. Oh.
BYU looking to keep this game in check. The call on the field currently is out, but it is under review. But I will say this, I like the slide from Maya Bland.
Yeah, I see her hand get into the back of that bag, just as far as you can possibly be from the tag.
And great throw from BYU catcher.
The tag was placed on the forearm.
And what could feel a little bit like a momentum shift here. You're waiting for this call. If indeed the call stands, that would put nobody on and 2 outs for the Sooners. If it is overturned, a runner in scoring position for Alina Torres. And getting another angle here. And man, that tag's a little high.
Yeah. I mean, it looks like the hand got in there first.
Again, great slide by Maya Bland going to the back side of the bag, making Agbayani reach. And this is taking a little bit of time.
Yeah. I mean, they've got to view a bunch of views, I would guess. I mean, it's a tough call to make.
And I will say this, Maya Bland took off heading toward the dugout as if she was out until Coach Gasso said, "Nuh-uh, you're going to stay right there. We're going to take a look." And the call's still under review. And for this to be reversed, it has to be indisputable. And it's a good look at Coach Gasso. Just chatting it up, having a good time.
It's a good play. Great tag, great throw, great slide. I mean, everybody did what they're supposed to do.
Curious to see if Daly starts to throw a little bit. This has been an extended amount of time waiting on the review call.
The review calls have gotten pretty interesting this season. We saw a lot against Texas. A lot of them are base running.
And we've got Sooner fans enjoying the time. Beautiful evening. Getting in on the music and the festivities. And it looks like we've got a decision. And the call on the field is going to stand. And that will make it nobody on and 2 outs. And that's a big-time play for the Cougars.
Yeah, that's a big out. Maya Bland coming off of second base with her speed. Chances of her scoring on really anything through the gap are pretty high.
So Kate Daly and BYU has an opportunity to work around what could have easily been a crooked number inning for the Sooners. So nobody out, or excuse me, nobody on and 2 outs for Alina Torres. Torres drew a walk in the second. with nobody on and 2 outs, much like this situation, but came around to score on a home run by Jada Coleman. Dally falls behind here, 2 balls and a strike. Torres just the second batter Dally has faced as she came in out of the bullpen. 2-1. Misses a bit low, and Torres is aboard for her second walk of the ball game, and that review had me behind to a pitch. So another walk delivered by BYU pitching to bring up Riley Boone.
Saw Riley Boone on the on-deck circle kind of dodging the bat of Alina Torres, the Evo shield.
It's a lot of equipment to get rid of. Boone 1 for 1 here tonight. Came around to score back in the second. Fifth walk delivered by BYU pitchers here so far in this game. So 1-1 to Boone is popped up to center field. And Zavadnik will take care of it, and BYU works around a 2-out walk. We head to the top of the 4th. Sooners on top, 4-0. So as she is on top of BYU leadoff hitter Ailana Agbayani, no balls and 2 strikes. It has been lights out so far in this game. Agbayani, a strikeout victim back in the first inning. A rare occurrence for the sophomore. That was just her 6th strikeout on the entire season. It's the 0-2 little check swing. They're going to check to see if she win, and she was able to hold. And Maxwell setting the tone in this game. It's the 1-2 is going to stay fair, and Sydney Sanders will take it herself for the first out here in the 4th, and Maxwell absolutely dealing.
Maxwell has been pretty impressive. I think, you know, as you go into conference play and you play the same team 3 times, I was expecting to see a little bit more rotations throughout each game. A couple pitchers per game, and we've seen Kelly really stand out and handle herself for most of these games. Against Texas, she handled her a full game, came out again on a Sunday, did pretty well.
Maddie Bejarano stands in. The senior grounded out to short in her first at bat, and ground ball to short again. Jennings will take care of it. 2 quick outs for Maxwell and the Sooners to bring up Violet Zavadnik. And we've talked about how potent this BYU lineup is, but huge disparity between the top half and the bottom half of this Cougar lineup. As the 1 through 5 hitters lead the charge for BYU, hitting .399 on the season. Big drop off, 6 through 9, just hitting .261.
Yeah, and I mean, Kelly's handled 1 through 9 really well. I mean, she's seen 3 hitters at a time. If we can if she can put Violet Zavodnik away.
And she'll do it. The pop-up will take us to the bottom of the fourth. Sooners on top, 4-0. This is Sooner softball presented by Bud Light. 4-0, and that's been all she's wrote for the Sooners. 2 for 2 here tonight. Seeing that average up to 460. And a little bit of a check swing, and it's going to be a foot race as Jada Coleman is retired for the first time here tonight. To bring up Tiare Jennings. Jennings 0 for 1 and drew a walk back in the second. It's been stranded twice. Ground ball. Agbayani takes care of it, and 2 quick outs for Kate Daly and BYU. If you talked to Coach Gasso, as Alyssa Brito is going to go have a chat, but if you talk to Coach Gasso after the Wichita State game, she wanted to see this team finish a little bit better. They put up 7 runs in the first 2 innings and didn't score, and were pretty quiet offensively in the back half. And as Kate Daly has registered 2 quick outs, you start to wonder if that's a conversation that's going to be had in the Sooner dugout.
Yeah, I think, she wants to see them remain consistent throughout the game. Putting up 7 runs is great, but for Coach Gasso, she wants to see you finish that game, put them away if you're scoring that many runs in the first 2 innings, continuously score runs.
Alyssa Brito looking to extend the inning after Jada Coleman and Tiare Jennings are retired quickly. Brito a single back in the second. The 0-1, little off speed, but loops in, and Daly ahead here, no balls and 2 strikes.
I think one thing that the pitching staff for BYU has done really well is mix in those off speeds, mix up the speeds of pitches. They have had quite a few walks, more than I'm sure Coach Eakin would like to see. But if they can continue to mix up the speeds, it's going to be tough.
And as we mentioned at the beginning of this half inning, Sooner runs all accounted for via the home run. Go back to the 3-run bomb from Jada Coleman back in the second. That rally was started with a 2-out walk. Daly finding the zone here as the 2-2 misses low. Of the walks delivered by BYU pitching here this evening, 2 have come with 2 outs. Another spot here for Kate Daly. Nobody on, 2 outs and a full count. Payoff pitch. Swing and a miss. And Kate Daly is pumped up. Make it a 1-2-3 inning for the freshman as she retires the side. And we go to the top of the 5th. Daly pulling in a top 25 matchup between the Longhorns and the Baylor Bears in Waco. All of those series set to take place tomorrow through Sunday. And Air Comfort Solutions, your total home solution for plumbing, heating, air conditioning, and electrical, make the winning call today. As Hunter Ava comes out swinging, but is retired for the first out of the inning. And the Sooner defense has been solid so far in this ball game, and Kelly Maxwell just throwing ground balls.
Yeah, I think that's what you want to see out of Kelly Maxwell. You want to see her get ahead in the count, put those leadoff batters away, but also allow her to trust her defense.
Gonna bring up sophomore Lily Owens, who popped out to second base back in the second. A little check swing, and they're gonna say she went, and Kelly Maxwell just breaking that curveball. We've seen her use it against the lefties, breaking it in on the hands of the righties, and she has just been efficient. I'm gonna continue to use that word. 57 pitches thrown in total, but has made quick work of the Cougar offense so far.
Only 14 balls. It's really good.
The 1-1, big hack from Owens, and Maxwell ahead once again, 1 ball and 2 strikes. A count we have seen so often in this game so far from Maxwell. So the 1-2 is gonna get through, and Owens puts up the first hit for BYU here in the 5th. And up to that point, Kelly Maxwell had retired every batter she had seen.
Kind of a check swing there, just trying to get the ball, the barrel to the ball, excuse me, just trying to find her way on. Punching it through, finding a hole.
That single will bring up Maddie Udall. Udall lined out to short back in the second. One of the hardest hit balls we've seen off of a BYU stick here this evening. Maxwell took the no-hitter into the 5th and retired every batter she saw.
Kelly Maxwell Day here at the ballpark as well.
Sanders will give chase. Again, the net and the screen protecting everyone down the line. We've seen it a couple times here tonight.
Yeah. I mean, that's so important. I feel like we saw some shots over at Marita Hines to the foul lines.
The 1-2, little check swing. They're going to see if she went. And she did indeed. And Kelly Maxwell following up the single with a strikeout. And you can see that barrel cross the plate just a bit. And Maxwell putting up another K to bring up Kayla Kamoku. Maxwell's 4th strikeout on the day. And as you mentioned, Destiny, it is Kelly Maxwell Day here at the ballpark. In more ways than one. It is her senior day, but it is also her birthday. She's giving everyone a gift today, the way she's throwing. Goodness.
Doing well. Just to elaborate on the Kelly Maxwell Day, every senior here at OU gets their own day. With 10 of them on the roster, a majority of their home games will be celebrating somebody.
Senior days had to start early this season.
Yeah.
I think the first week in a Big 12 play. As the 1-1 gets away from Hansen, but recovers quickly, and Owens will stay put at first base. And you get the feeling that's a little bit of a base running mistake by BYU.
Yeah. Got to be a little bit more heads up and take advantage of that opportunity as a base runner.
The 1-2 misses upstairs.
You know, this season more than ever, I have seen more base running errors of leaving early. I mean, we saw a lot of reviews on that this last series against Texas. And even here we saw some calls with runners leaving early when those can go under review. A lot of them get overturned.
Fair to say across the country, something we've seen more this season than any other year. It's the 2-2 upstairs, and Owens will take off. And that'll be a stolen base as she is into scoring position with 2 outs here in the 5th. It's the first BYU runner to get into scoring position, and pretty good jump by Owens.
Really good jump.
The 3-2 will issue the walk to Komoku, and BYU getting something cooking here in the 5th with 2 outs. Bring up sophomore Haley Morrow. Morrow, a strikeout victim, back in the 3rd. Morrow, 198. We talked about this, of the production from the bottom half of this BYU lineup and the struggles sometimes from the 6 through 9. An opportunity here. And a couple of ducks on the pond to reference your key to the game, Destiny. But this is a BYU offense that has left 35 runners on base in the past 4 games. 21 of those have come in the past 2 games.
Yeah, you've got to be able to advance your runners. Just capitalize on any opportunity. With Owens over at first and that mishap with Kinsey behind the plate, you've got to take second on that. Luckily, she was able to advance on a stolen base, but now with a walk to Udall.
And the 2-2 tomorrow. And Maxwell continues to dominate as she's done all game. We head to the bottom half of the 5th. Sooners on top 4-0.
Taco Mayo's classic value menu
For the Sooners here in the 5th. That is the first hit given up by Daly since she has entered this game. And Parker breaks the streak of 4 straight retired by the freshman. As Kinsey Hansen stands in, looking for her first hit of the night. And Daly, the freshman, the 3rd pitcher that we've seen so far in this ball game for the Cougars, and has had the most success so far. But again, we've talked a lot about this Cougar pitching staff being a little bit depleted, as that's going to fall in front of Zavodnik, and it's back-to-back singles. And Kinsey Hansen pushes through her first hit of the night to bring up Cassie Pickering.
See Zavodnik playing pretty deep out in center field. Just allowing that ball to kind of fall in.
Pickering had a solo shot back in the 3rd to make it 4-0 Sooners, and Pickering just having a good time. You gotta love to see getting back in the swing of things, and gonna have a pinch runner for Kinsey Hansen at first base as Riley Ludlam has entered the ball game. Ella Parker at second to put runners at first and second, and nobody out for Cassie Pickering. And seeing some movement in the BYU dugout, as we've seen so much in this game. And it looks like we are going to see another call to the bullpen. We're going to tell you more about it when we come back. This is Sooner Softball, presented by Bud Light. game through an inning and 2/3, gave up 2 hits, 2 earned runs, a pair of walks, and a pair of strikeouts. I would be ill-advised not to say that, given to Temples, the home run that produced the runs was given up by Alyssa Aguilar. But Temples got herself into some trouble by way of walk.
Yeah. You know, I think the walks have really hurt them this game. Talking to Coach Eakin, he wants to make sure that they understand you cannot give up any freebies to this lineup. Chloe Temples, I think, did a pretty good job trying to keep them off balance with her velocity. We talked a lot about that. She's not as quick as some of the pitchers that they're used to facing. I think they kind of stayed off balance a little bit, but she's got to pound the zone.
Temples struck out Pickering back in the second and caught her looking on a 3-2 pitch. And looking to keep this game in check with runners at first and second and nobody out here in the 5th. So 1-0 just misses a bit low. And as we mentioned at the start of this game, Temples is on a pitch count. Finds the strike zone there.
This isn't super rare to see pitchers in and out of the same game. It's not rare to see multiple pitchers in a game against this lineup. They've got to do what it takes to get these hitters off balance and not let them settle in.
That pitch is laced. Here comes Ella Parker around third. She will score easily. Ludlam will stand up at third base, and it's an RBI single for Pickering to make it 5-0 Sooners.
The freshman really stepping up. Ella Parker leading this off with a single. Kinsey Hansen keeping it going, and Cassidy Pickering staying alive with after the pitching change.
And it looks like we are going to see a pinch runner for Pickering at first base, and looks like it's going to be Hannah Core checking in for Pickering, and there is a distinct possibility that Core stays in this ball game and also replaces Pickering defensively out in the outfield. We'll keep an eye on that. But Sydney Sanders, an opportunity to extend the Sooner lead with runners at first and third and nobody out. And got to be curious with the pinch run call here of what Coach Gasso has up her sleeve as far as the first and third goes. Core takes off with the pitch. It's going to be cut, and Core will move into scoring position easily. And Hannah Core with the jump. On time and making it tough. Sid Sanders looking for her first hit of the night. Drew a walk back in the third. Seeing that average dip below 300, but as we've mentioned, Sydney Sanders, when she gets hot, and draws important walks when she needs to as well. And this is hit well, and speaking of getting hot, Sydney Sanders to make it 8-0 Sooners and a walk-off run rule victory. And look at the grin from Sydney Sanders.
That is one way to finish the game. I think after that Wichita State game, you want to see them finish. I think that's something Coach Gasso wanted to see from them. So for them to come out in the 5th inning and put 4 runs on the board, she's proud.
And Sid Sanders needing a little bit of momentum like none other, just absolutely hammering.
And what a pitch to hit. That's definitely a miss for Chloe Temples to leave that ball belt high. Sydney Sanders making her pay.
That home run is brought to you by Oklahoma Oil and Natural Gas. 7 of the 8 Sooner runs put up by a home run. 2 of those 3-run shots. And Sydney Sanders ending the game here in the 5th. And Destiny, we talked about it. Coach Gasso wanted to see this Sooner team not stop and finish a game. You get the feeling she's going to be happy with the way this team has responded here in game 1.
Yeah, I think they responded really well. They pieced it all together. They capitalized on the freebies, definitely. We saw some really key and timely hits. I think those are the things that she wanted to see. And Kelly Maxwell did great out in the circle. I think it was a team win here tonight.
Every cylinder firing for the Sooners here in the 8-0 victory. Kelly Maxwell picking up the W on what is her senior night, also her birthday.